So the reason that we did that activity is because when I mark the exam board, I have to underline every SPAG error going, and then I use that information to award the student a SPAG mark. Okay, so you can see this column here on this mark scheme on slide 9 is vocabulary, sentence structure, spelling, and punctuation. So it's the SPAG and vocabulary criteria column. Now, I'm not expecting you to use this column because I know the font's quite small. And I felt like it might be a bit complicated over online learning to teach you. So I've taken the words from this column and I've turned it into this grid, all right? And what I'm going to do is just talk you through how to use this grid to award the student a mark. So down the side here, I'm just going to put in bold, are the criteria that they have to kind of check off for SPAG, that they have to kind of meet for SPAG. And then across here is the band and also the mark they would get if you put them in that band. So if you put them overall in band 1 for SPAG, they would get 1 to 3 marks. Overall in band 2, 4 to 6 marks. Overall in band 3, 7 to 10 marks, etc., etc. The problem with this student is they do loads of really good things with their SPAG. So, for example, their vocabulary use is really great, really ambitious. Their use of punctuation is ambitious, but it's not always accurate. So you kind of have to find a bit of a middle ground. Control of tense was probably the weakest thing towards the end. So what I want you to do is I want you to highlight for each category what band you would put them in. And then I want you to find an average. From that average, so it might be that you highlight everything in band 3. That's quite unlikely for this student. Say you had 2 in band 2, 2 in band 3, 2 in band 4. That would average out as a band 3 mark. And you need to think whereabouts in band 3 would I give that. If they were leaning more towards band 2, you'd give it a 7 or an 8. If they were leaning more towards band 4, you'd give it a 9 or a 10. Okay, so I'm just going to show you physically how to do the first one. So variety in sentence structure. If I go back to the story, have a little look, I think they use sentences really well, actually. There are short sentences, there are long sentences, there are questions, there's use of kind of commas to control sentences and more creative punctuation. But obviously they comma splice sometimes and lose control sometimes. So variety in sentence structure, limited range. There's not a limited range. Some variety. There's more than some variety. There is a variety. Varied purposefully to achieve effects and appropriate and effective variation. I'm going to go with this actually, varied purposefully to achieve effects, because I do think the student is trying to think about their sentence structures and how they can create effects on the tone or the impression the reader gets. So remember that, but I don't know whether to believe him. So that was purposely done to create effect. So you're going to go through the rest of them. Control of sentence construction. So are their sentences controlled accurately? Are they punctuating all of their sentences well? Accurate use of punctuation. Are they using punctuation first accurately, a range of it, and confidently towards the end? Accurate spelling. So some spelling's accurate, spelling's usually accurate, most spelling's accurate, etc., etc. Control of tense agreement. So you might have limited control. Control is generally secure, mostly secure, is secure, or is totally secure. And the vocabulary use is about whether they're using a range and then whether they're using it with ambition and precision. Okay, so you go through, do the same as I did here with the highlight tool. Click up here to highlight, and then you try and find out the average, and then you put your SPAG mark in here, please. And then I'm going to do the same thing a bit later on. And that is the end of lesson 1.